My name's Josh.
And my name's Brett.
Welcome to Hapticast. What's up, everybody? Welcome to Hapticast, episode number 27. My name is Josh Tull, and I am joined by my good friend, Brett Roberts, as always. Hello, Brett.
Hello, Josh.
How are you doing, my friend?
I'm doing quite well, Josh.
This is Microsoft Sam, your default... Dude,
Computer's default voice.
Yeah, I can't do it as good as Brandon does it.
I could do it, but I'm going to embarrass myself, so I won't.
More so than you already do?
Yes.
I feel that. All right. Anyway, welcome to Hapticast, everybody, episode 27. Give you a quick overview, obviously, of today. We're going to be talking about, and you can hop into the description, which is, by the way, why I'm doing this with no context, for timestamps for different topics. We'll also release them as individual videos, most of them. Our main topic today is obviously going to be Cyberpunk 2077, so make sure you stick around here for the full stuff. Full disclosure, we will be doing spoilers for that in the top of the pod, okay? So if you did not play like the first 10 hours or so of Cyberpunk...
Very light spoilers.
Yeah. Just for the beginning of the game, go to the description and click after that so you miss all of the spoiler stuff.
Yeah.
I'll warn you guys again before we actually start it. We're going to be talking about CD Projekt Red's bonus system and kind of comparing and contrasting how they treat their workers versus another big studio, Supergiant Games. Then we're going to be talking about J.J. Abrams' Bad Robot Production Studio, a new game studio that is going to be led by the Left 4 Dead creator, so somebody from Turtle Rock. Then we're going to be talking about the DCMA and how copyright strikes might become a felony offense for streamers. Not good. We're going to be doing a little Game Awards recap because, oh boy, your boys, we're good.
We couldn't be any more right unless, well, we could have actually, but we were we were very right.
We were very, very right. And then we're going to be wrapping up the show as we always do with a little indie intel segment. This week we're covering a game called Inzane. Okay,
In the membrane.
That's right. So yeah, let's get started. How we always do. Brett, well, actually, before we do games that we're playing, I promised you right before we started that I would show you something.
Yes.
Okay. So this weekend, right, everybody's playing Cyberpunk. I was busy doing other stuff. I couldn't play Cyberpunk as much as I wanted to. I was home, with my actual, like, my parents, my mother, helping her with some stuff. I wasn't feeling great this weekend either. I was like shitting my brains out constantly. So that was not fun. Cool. My stomach has just been a mess the last couple of weeks for some reason, and it's just not getting worse. And this weekend was really bad. Anyway, I get home this weekend. I go food shopping, as I always do on Sundays, typically to get ready for the week. I'm driving back from food shopping, and I live in Philly, right? But like there's like suburban parts of like my area and like side streets or whatever, lots of like row homes and things like that. So I'm driving back from the supermarket, bro. Right. What do I see? But a garage sale on the side of the street. And I was like, oh, that's cool. People are doing some spring cleaning or winter cleaning, whatever's going on. So I stop at the red light, like right next to it, and I'm just taking a look. Dude, I look over. It's as if like gaming gods from the heaven descended and showed me something that was at that garage sale. Now, to preface, Brett, the reason that this is special is because the last couple of weeks, I recently started watching this YouTube channel. You good? I recently started watching this YouTube channel called Odd Tinkering. I don't know if you've ever heard of them. Have you?
No, I have not.
No. They do like restorations of like old consoles and things like that. And the reason I subscribed to him and started watching is because a couple of weeks ago, he restored a PlayStation 1, Brett, but not the original PlayStation 1, the like slim, rounded, weird one.
Yeah, I think it's called the PS1.
Yeah. So I was like, damn, that's cool. I really wish I had one. So I stop at the red light, and I see it on this like the gaming gods call down from the heavens, and I see this thing, right? And what is it, Brett? Of course.
Wow.
But a PS1. So it might be a little bit because of my lighting and stuff. But so it says like the PS1 on here. It's small if you look at it
very small
compared to my head. Like it's tiny. It's tiny.
Mm-hmm.
And it has 2 controllers with it, right?
No DualShock, right? Or no, it is a DualShock.
This might be the first iteration of the DualShock because this has the thumbsticks with it.
Yeah, that's the DualShock, and then the DualShock 2 is the PS2 one. So yeah, you got DualShock.
Yeah, this is a DualShock. And then it has the power cable with it. The only thing it doesn't have with it is a like AV cables, like audio cables. But it does have a memory card with it too.
Nice.
But anyway, I get it home, Brett. I didn't open it there. I didn't look at it. I was like, it might not even work. The guy that sold it was like, I don't know if it works or not.
How much was it?
Which is fine. I only spent $50 on it.
Okay.
And they're like, I looked at eBay, they're going for like 70 to 100 depending.
Okay.
Anyway, and I get home and I just take it out of the box and I open it up. There's a game inside, Brett.
Is it a good game or is it a shit game?
I think it's a good game. I have fond memories of the game, but you're gonna
You just broke your $50 PS1.
There we go. Spyro, Year of the Dragon.
Okay.
Is inside of the PS1.
Okay.
So anyway, I wanted to share that with you because I thought it was cool. Because literally a couple weeks ago, I was like, damn, I really want one of those like fat, thin, skinny PS1s.
There you go.
And I didn't really care if it worked or not because now that I follow Odd Tinkering, I just go back to his video and look at it and restore it myself if I need to.
Yeah.
Because I think I'm going to, because I think the tray is broken actually. Now that I'm just discovering. But anyway,
That's really cool.
I thought it was cool. It's a nice little piece of gaming history that I have now.
Now, we could talk about this after the pod, but I think there may be ways that you could play a lot of games on there for really cheap, if you understand what I'm saying.
I do understand what you're saying. Yes.
So,
yeah. But yeah, so I think I went down a whole rabbit hole with that stuff, especially after like getting the PS5 and playing Astrobot and stuff and seeing all of that stuff in there. And,
absolutely. So. I mean, listen, it's a good display piece, first of all.
Right.
Second of all, you can play it,
Right. Yeah. So we'll see. I'm going to need to buy an AV cable for it to actually test the video. And I'll need an adapter to run it to an HDMI because I don't have anything that has the regular RGB inputs anymore.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, it's cool. I thought it was cool. I thought I'd want to share it with you.
You should play Metal Gear Solid on that thing.
That'd be dope.
Well, that's like so I played it on the Vita,
and
it was a fine experience, but there's like just so many cool things that it actually does on the PS1 that you can't do on emulated hardware. So, for example, like there's a character named Psycho Mantis, and he'll read your memory card and like, he'll be like, I heard you like to play Spyro Year of the Dragon. Shit like that.
Yeah.
And like there's parts where like something gets hacked and you have to like plug controller 1 into the controller 2 slot.
Yeah.
To fight him. So like there's a lot of cool little nuances that you would get out of playing it on an original PS1 like that.
Yeah. No, it'll be a good time. And we'll see. I don't even know if it starts up, to be honest with you. So we'll see. But it was kept in this plastic case. It like seems, I mean, it's obviously dirty and patina on it, but it's in really good condition overall, physically at least on the outside. So
very cool. Hey, I saw they have Transformers that transform into that PS1, I think.
Transformers?
Yeah, like the toys. And they instead of turning into a car, they turn into that PS1 that you have, I think.
I like it. I like that a lot.
It's pretty cool. It's a cool display piece. So
yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
All right.
Cool. Very cool.
Very nice.
Yeah.
But with that, I mean, I know we're both playing Cyberpunk, so we'll save that till the end, but are you playing anything else right now?
No, I platinum Bug Snacks since the last time we talked on the pod. That game's fun. That game's cool, man. It was really addicting, and I really just had to get through it.
Charming, right?
Yeah, for sure. And I thought that there was going to be like at the end, it was almost like it was a teaser for like a sequel, but it was actually just like not really at the same time. Because throughout the game, they make jokes about this thing called like the snack. It's like the Illuminati, but like Bug Snacks is in the name somehow.
Right. Yeah.
And at the end of the game, like it pretty much confirms the existence of the Illuminati or whatever. Not really a spoiler. It's just a throwaway joke. But anyway, I'd like if they made more or like a DLC,
Yeah.
and expanded upon it, because it is Pokemon Snap. It is like a Pokemon-esque game, but the puzzle element of like catching them was really fun and addicting. So
Yeah.
that was cool. And then Cyberpunk.
Right.
I've played. I can't even tell you how many hours I've played, because it just kind of, I've just been picking it up, putting it down, picking it up and putting it down. So I couldn't tell you how many sessions I've played. But we're going to talk about it a little more, I think, in a little bit.
Yeah.
So I guess that's all I have to say. What about you?
Yeah. Besides Cyberpunk, I since we last recorded, which is 2 weeks ago now, because we had our Game Awards special and then the Game Awards and stuff. I have picked up and played a good amount of Hades. That game is fun. That is a good game. Soundtrack is awesome. The gameplay loop, which I think I mentioned to you, like just ourselves, is like one of the most addictive like gameplay loops I've ever played. It basically just works. You start off. Yeah, it's roguelike. So you go through. When you die, you go back to the beginning. And it's cool because you pick up different power-ups. You choose your path that you go, whether you want like health, mana, items, keys that unlock weapons, things like that. It's interesting. And then you go through and you'll go through a couple levels, and there's a boss. You go through a couple more, there's another boss. And I figured at some point, like one night I got really far and I was like, all right, there's going to be like a checkpoint or something. I'm going to like unlock, like, there's like these vase-like things in the hub world where I'm like, okay, like you get to a certain point, you'll be able to fast travel back so you don't have to do all that again. Dude, I got really far. I got so close and then I died and I went back and I was like, all right, like maybe I can just go back to this point. Nope. You're back at the beginning. And then how they get you again, dude, is the bosses that you fight again, dude, they have completely different move sets when you go back in for another time. So it's like learning it all over again. And then I died from the first boss again. I'm like, fuck. So
I was really hoping that game would get launched on the PlayStation 5 and 4. I thought they were going to reveal that at the Game Awards. It was up for so many different awards. I was like, this is the best. Like, they said it's coming. And I was like, this is the best place for them to announce it.
Right.
But unfortunately, they didn't. So I'm going to have to pick it up on sale. It's on the Switch. So
yeah, I have it on Switch. I would like to, it runs great. Like, there's no problems with it. But I would love to play it like on PS5 or Xbox Series X with like 60 FPS or something like that, which I could play it on my PC with a higher frame rate. But well, hopefully it's actually unlocked frame rate. I don't know. I would like to play it at a higher frame rate because it's a game that's very precise with its combat, and would just be better on a higher frame rate, which the Switch obviously can't handle.
Yeah, so, absolutely.
Yeah, but that's pretty much it.
Cool. All right. Well, with that being said, then, Josh, let's hop into our main topic of the pod, which is all about Cyberpunk 2077.
It is. So, unless you've been living under a rock, you know that Cyberpunk 2077 has finally released. The long-awaited game that's been in development for 8 years, almost a decade, has so much hype around it. And, recently maybe more negative stuff with their work practices and things like that, which we will get into. But yeah, Cyberpunk launched. We both have played it. I would like to, Brett, start with maybe just the positive stuff as far as talking about like the actual story, the world, maybe a little bit of the gameplay, and then get into the fact that so we both have it on PS5. I have played it on Series X as well as PS5. And then maybe talk about some of the other like bugs and patches and things like that. Does that work for you?
Yeah, absolutely. I think we should start even further back though.
Okay.
Right before launch, the reviews went live and the game was getting very positive reviews, 9s, 10s, a little bit of 8s every once in a while, which kind of, we expected that. We thought the game was going to be this big thing as CD Projekt Red marketed it as. We thought it was going to be a game changer for the industry.
Right.
Then we find out, oh, well, first of all, in the reviews, they say it's really buggy. The game's pretty buggy. It's like Bethesda game tier buggy.
Yeah.
If you played The Witcher 3, that game came out, and the biggest problem with it was maybe like FPS drops in certain areas where there were a lot of enemies.
Yeah.
You're not used to that with CD Projekt Red. So that was a red flag. So you hear about the bugs, and then you hear, for some reason, CD Projekt Red didn't supply game keys for console. They only supplied the PC version of the game. So that's a little weird, right?
Yeah.
All the reviews come out and they're all mostly positive.
Mhm.
You know, the biggest drawback were the bugs, and then also the main campaign was only 28 hours long.
Right.
So then we get our hands on the game,
Mhm.
and people start getting their hands on the game,
Mhm.
and it's a goddamn mess, Josh.
It
It
is.
is a mess.
Um. It is a mess.
Especially on PS4, base PS4,
Mhm.
and base Xbox One.
Right.
Right.
So I want to start. Believe me, I'm going to lay into that in a minute.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
I do. So off the bat, right? I've spent in my main playthrough. I've spent about 10 hours with the game. Okay.
Mhm.
I think we're both at similar spots. So spoiler warning, minor spoilers for at least the beginning of the game here coming up.
Yeah.
I think we're both in the same spot story wise. I picked for my main playthrough. I picked the corpo background, and you picked nomad, right?
Yep. Yep.
So our like the beginning is a little bit different, but then there's that montage and it pops you into Night City, right? So
Yeah.
I'm at the point now.
Wait. So what happened in the beginning of the game for you?
Well, the beginning of the game, it starts like you start in Night City, but you start inside of the Arasaka. Is that what that corporation is? The Arasaka headquarters as like an actual corporate person in charge of something in there.
As
And
V?
as V, yes.
Oh.
So you're in like you work for Arasaka, and then you go into like who I'm assuming is your boss. I actually forget the character's name because he's like so insignificant, at least as of now. You go in and your boss is talking to you about like this Militech stuff, and then this other person that he wants you to basically like spy on or like get rid of or something like that. And you have options as V to be like, oh, I don't want to do that, or like, yeah, like I'll do whatever to get it done or whatever it is. And then after you have this conversation with your person, you go off, you do this quick little thing, and you meet Jackie. And then after that, it does this. You do like one thing that takes like 10 minutes. There's like this montage, and then you're in Night City.
Okay. All right.
And
Let me
that's
start.
it.
Okay. So then I'll tell you what happened to me in the beginning, and then we'll start from the montage on, right?
Mhm.
Because I think that the beginning is the only thing that's really different. And I think after that, we're going to be pretty similar.
Yeah.
So my game started, I was V, and I'm in a garage,
Mhm.
and I'm getting my car worked on. And the guy's like, hey, you're not really from around here. I could tell, who are you? He's trying to get a little bit of information on you. And I think because of my stats I picked, I was a little bit more like technologically sound, and I could kind of fix the car myself. So the guy was saying, it's going to take a long time to fix the car, and then I walk up and I'm like, or V as V, I walk up to the car and I fix it like really quickly. And there were bugs, visual bugs, as I'm plugging the different wires in. The wires are still there, and I'm plugging wires onto wires. It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
And then the sheriff rolls in and opens the garage door, and he's like, hey, when someone new comes to the town, they got to introduce themselves to me. And you're like, all right, well, I'm just rolling in and I'm rolling out, buddy. I don't have any problems.
Mhm.
And the sheriff's giving you bullshit. And you're like, well, listen, my radio's down. I really need to, talk to somebody. Can I plug into your radio system? And he's like, you need to get the fuck out of our town. That's what you can do. And you're like, okay. So you drive away. There's a big radio tower. It's almost Ubisoft style where you have to like climb to the top of the tower and connect yourself, jack in.
Mhm.
So I did that. They tell me, hey, the guy you're supposed to meet, he's in this farmhouse down the road. Drive and go get him. Okay. So I drive, and it's Jackie.
Mhm.
And he's like, hey, I have this package, and, I hired you to drive me into Night City. And you're like, okay. So you get to the border area, and they like have to check your car and all the customs basically, and they check what you have on you.
Mhm.
They scan that there was something in the car, so you have to go in, and you basically sit in an interrogation room with the guy, like the security guy,
Mhm.
and you try to pay him off. And he's like, well, how many people do you have with you? And you're like, oh, it's just me, dude. It's just me and Jack, this guy in my car. And they're like, okay, you can go. And they end up tipping off corpos or whatever, like all these different people that you have like expensive cargo on board, and you're kind of traveling alone. So they try to ram you off the road. You get in this huge gunfight,
Mhm.
and you make it into Night City, and V and Jackie pull into a little house, and they hide in the garage. And they realize they have a lot in common. They both, are kind of like, they're both nomad-esque characters.
Mhm.
and you guys become friends. You open up what the cargo was, and it's a fucking lizard. And then the montage hits. That was my fucking experience.
Okay.
So
yeah, on my playthrough, it did seem like in the beginning, though, V and Jackie knew each other for a while, and like V hired Jackie a lot to do like these corporate like hush hush jobs a lot. So like there were already established relationship, and there's like also background between V and Jackie's mom in the corpo storyline, which is interesting and just kind of comes up after. Oh, actually, I don't even want to say that because maybe that didn't happen to you.
Well,
so
okay, let's continue now.
So Jackie dies.
Yeah, well, let's go back. Yeah, me too.
Okay,
so let's
all
go
right.
back.
Okay.
So I met with this woman named Evelyn.
Yep.
Okay, and she basically says, "There's this thing in Arasaka. I need you to steal it for me."
Yes, exactly.
And V's like, "Okay, but I'm working with Dexter Deshawn."
Right. Okay.
Yep. And Dexter Deshawn also has this other thing where I have to get this robot for him.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
So Evelyn essentially is like, "Hey, if you just do the mission with me and cut Dexter out of it, I'll give you a lot of money."
Right. So there's and actually the game like gives you 3 chances to kind of make a decision there because Evelyn presents it and then you can kind of like ignore it. And I did at the first point. I like was like, I kind of like Dex right now. Like I'm good. And then it goes through it again and gives you another choice, and you're like, like maybe I'll think about it. And then it goes in again, and it's like yes, I'll do it. Like no, like I don't know, like whatever it is. I was like, nah, I'm not fucking Dex over. Like he seems pretty cool. Like we had this whole limo ride. Like, and I really like I think the voice actor for Dex is like one of the best in the game thus far. I don't know who the actor is, but I really liked him, which is unfortunate because then you go. So you go. I did the Militech optional side stuff too to get like, so when you're trying to get the robot for Dex or whatever. Did you choose to talk to that Militech lady and do all that stuff? So did I.
But nothing really came of it. She tried giving me money. She's like, "You have to pay with this thing," and I was like, "No, I'm not paying with your thing."
Yeah. So right. And then I went through, and I think the reason that I didn't have the option to even pay with that is because I went in and I wasn't gonna. I'm genuinely trying not to like just go in and shoot them up because I've tried it a couple times at the beginning. It really did not work out well for me. So I'm trying to like be calm or whatever. So I'm doing like a lot of the quick hack stuff, dude. I went in and you have the ping thing where you could like ping and it'll show you like every enemy connected in that system. So I go in to like, once you get that card, you go to the place where you're trying to buy the robot. Right. And I get in there and I like just scan and I was like, all right, let me ping these enemies in case they come up again later. Dude, I pinged the enemy and then they all aggroed me. And I was like, how do they shouldn't even, because I've done stealth before, like they shouldn't even have known that I pinged them. So I don't know if it was something specific to that clan that they have like hackers that can detect pings, or if it was a bug, which is possible. I don't know. But then I was like, all right, I guess they're all fucking dying. And then I killed all of them and I go through and I end up stealing the thing instead of paying for it or anything. And I walk out and you talk to the Militech bitch and I'm just like, yeah, fuck you, lady. And she's like, watch out. And I'm like, all right, suck my dick. You were no help to me. That was pointless.
Yeah. So similar with me. I went in and I didn't aggro anybody until the leader of the gang came out. I think his name was, Brick was the guy that was already paid. And I was like, we already paid Brick. I'm not paying again. And he's like, you're going to pay again. And I was like, all right, I'll pay again, but at a discount. And he's like, no discount. And I was like, all right, well, then you're going to die. And we had a big shootout.
Did you decrypt the information that was on the card though? Did you have your intelligence high enough that you could do that?
I don't know what card you're talking about.
The card that the Militech lady gives you to pay.
I didn't even take it.
You didn't even take it?
Mm-mm.
Dude, you can take it and then you could decrypt it. And dude, I got money for decrypting it and got other information on there. And I was like, all right, well, if I use it, it's going to install this virus, but I also know what it does. So like, whatever. That's interesting.
I didn't take it because I was worried that I was afraid that if I crossed too many lines, it would get messy. And I had Evelyn's thing. She wanted me to fuck over Dex. I just wanted to do the mission and get it. I just wanted it to be as clean as possible. I just wanted to do it because they build you up and they're like, they take you to the club where all these like fixers are. And they're like, you're going to become one of us. Like, you're going to, like, they make me feel like I want to do good. I want this to be my big mission. So anyway, after all that, You meet with Dex and you go over how much you're going to get paid.
Mm-hmm.
Did you haggle with him, or did you just take the 30%?
I really didn't argue. He said, "Oh, no." So I had another line. I had an additional dialogue option in there because he was like 30%, and I was like, nah, 50%. And then he was like, all right, what about 40 or something like that? And I was like, okay, like 40. And I like if you actually you could turn the camera at one part in the scene and look at Jackie and be like, and you had these dialogue things pop up, and I was like, yep, 40% is good. I like kind of like checking with Jackie, and he was like, yeah, it's good.
Mine was 35.
Oh, so I got 40%. Well,
you didn't really
actually. I didn't get shit. So,
so you go and you do the mission, which is pretty cool.
Dude, the mission is honestly, bugs aside and like graphical stuff, it's actually cool. Like, first of all, the building itself is fucking slick. The way that it's designed is really cool. But then the mission structure itself, like, is cool too. So I went in, I talked to the person at the bar. Did you do that?
I did not. I just wanted, like I said, I didn't want to make it messy,
dude.
So I just went right to the hotel room.
So I went in, I was just looking around a little bit, really at the environments and trying to look at some of the graphical stuff because there was a lot of issues. And so I went up to the bartender and I talked to the bartender. Dude, I had a very interesting conversation with the bartender in the hotel because we were going back and forth, and I was like, no, I don't want anything to drink, whatever. And we were talking a little bit about Arasaka and the building and the history. And he was like, yeah, you know, sometimes we have the bartenders, or sometimes we have the CEO or like higher ups in Arasaka moonlight as bartenders here. Mm-hmm. And he said that. And I was like, nah, you're fucking lying to me. And he's like, am I? And walked away.
Undercover boss, dude.
And I was like, that was weird that they included that. But there was some information that he divulged to me beforehand. That was pretty interesting.
That's cool. I like that.
But yeah, anyways, then you go up to the apartment, which that's the first time you brain dance, actually. Was before all that. When you meet Evelyn, you meet what's her name? Judy, who is an awesome character. And you do the brain dance stuff, which, watching all of their like gameplay clips and things like that, I was like, this looks kind of like I wouldn't be interested in it. It's actually kind of cool when you do it.
So I agree, but I've been doing it a lot. I'm a little further than you, and I've been doing it a lot more. And it's like tedious because now I'm at a point where like I don't know what they want me to do, and I'm like, this is kind of like I just want to progress. I don't want to do this anymore. But it is a cool concept. It is. Yeah.
So I spent a long time and got every piece of information and decrypted, or do like every line that they have in the brain dance thing, everything. I did all of that, so that, because I was like, when I go into this apartment, I don't want it to be messy. I want to know exactly where everything is. I want to have all the information I possibly can and all of that. So anyway, you go up to the apartment with Jackie. You go in, you know where the robot is. You get the robot out of the thing. You know, it's in this case or whatever that you can't damage the case because it's like pressurized or at a certain temperature or something.
It mimics the brain essentially. It's
right. So you get that, and then as you know, obviously, as you're about to go out, the what's his name?
Sajuro.
Yeah, the son, and then the dad, and then
both of their bodyguards.
Yes. Which one is a robot and one is a character that's apparently going to become pretty big moving forward.
Yeah.
So they start coming up. So I hid with Jackie behind the wall.
Mm-hmm.
Did you?
Yes, I did.
Okay. And then you hide with Jackie, and then what's his name? The son kills the father, basically. And then puts the whole thing on lockdown, the whole building on lockdown.
And he claims that his father died of poisoning. Someone poisoned his father. No?
Not for me. No.
So what happened for me was, this is what I'm getting out of it anyway.
Mm-hmm.
The father shows up and he's like, how dare you steal from me? You're such a disappointment. I can't believe you. And in my head, what he stole, what I'm thinking is the case. What the contents of that case are what he stole from him.
Mm-hmm.
And basically it seems like the father just shits all over the son constantly, and the son's just sick of it. The son chokes him out. And then he's like, put the building on lockdown. And then the bodyguard for the dad comes in and he's like, you poisoned, my father was poisoned. And the whole building goes on lockdown.
I don't know. I don't think he said poisoned for me. I think he just said somebody's killed my father.
So yeah, so he basically claims that someone poisoned his father, and that's the excuse he's going to use to cover up the fact that he killed his dad.
Yeah.
So following that, V and Jackie are trying to like they're like, what the fuck do we do?
Yeah.
And what's her name? T-Bug?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
T-Bug hacks a window and opens it so V and Jackie can get out.
Right.
But then she dies, apparently.
Yep.
Jackie and V walk out on the windowsill, and all of a sudden helicopters fly by. Yes?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
They shoot Jackie and me and V.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if actually Jackie is hurt from the fall because he has to slide off the building, or if he gets shot. Yeah. Later on, there's a side quest where they say, after Jackie fell.
Oh, okay.
And I don't know if they mean fell as in died,
right?
Or fell as in when he fell, he got hurt.
Gotcha.
So anyway, the case gets damaged. Jackie's like, fuck. And he's like, I'm going to just stick it in my head. I'm going to stick the chip in my head.
Yep.
They both, V and Jackie, get out. Unfortunately, Jackie passes away in the taxi.
Right.
And he tells V to stick it in his head. So V sticks it in his head.
Yeah. Now, where did you choose? Because in that car, right, that has the service of like, client corpse disposal or whatever it is.
Yep.
Where did you choose to send his body?
So actually, this choice depends on, or it affects the outcome of a side quest that I've done.
Wow.
So I said, wait right here. I'll be right back.
Okay. So this is interesting. We're starting to diverge a lot.
Well, it's not.
Well, I say I told him because I had the option to send him home to his mom. So I chose that. And then once after this next part happens with Johnny Silverhand, then I get a side mission stuff to go to his funeral and talk to his mom. And then I have another quest line now that is just with his mom. And she is not happy with V.
Okay, that's different than me. So I chose, like I said, wait here. I'll be right back.
Yeah.
What ends up happening is Dexter shoots you when you go inside.
Right. Which, by the way, I felt, and I think it's just a testament to how good the characters are and the actual like writing itself for the main quest line, is I felt actually genuinely betrayed, even though you only talked to Dex a couple times. I was like, you fucking kidding me, Dex, dude? Like, really? Like, this is what you're doing right now.
It's good, though, because it helps you illustrate the world and how cutthroat the industry that you're in is as a merc.
But you know what? It also, Dex says, like, one of the first times you talk to him, he's like, you only got to trust one person. That's yourself in Night City. And I was like, damn, Dex, you're really going to do me dirty? And you find out he's working with fucking Arasaka.
Hold on. So essentially, V gets shot. V dies. Yeah. But the chip in his brain, the chip downloads its contents onto V's brain, essentially, is the easiest way to put it.
Right.
V is resurrected with the contents of the chip, which is Johnny Silverhand.
Right.
Who is a terrorist who wanted to take down Arasaka.
Right. Played by Keanu Reeves.
Yes. And Grandpa Arasaka, basically as punishment, when they capture Johnny Silverhand, they take his mind, put it on a chip, and he dies. His body dies. So V and Johnny Silverhand essentially become one. You find out that V doesn't have much longer to live, and Johnny Silverhand is going to slowly but surely take over V's body.
Yep.
So now, when you wake up and everything, you get told all of this, you find out that the taxi service ends up, with my choice, ended up sending it to the body to his mom with his family. Okay. So I got this. I did the same thing as you.
Okay.
Now, I didn't. You said that V had a relationship with Jackie's mother.
Yes, and there was a couple of phone conversations once I woke up, and there was like backstory because it's before Jackie dies. There was plenty of conversations where like I had the option to follow up with him about how his mom is doing, and like clearly there was some dialogue there that was like there's a history there, and it almost seems like, and I don't know 100% because it's not super specific, and maybe it'll be fleshed out more as I go through some of the side quests, but it almost seems like Jackie and V grew up together. And then Jackie, like V went the corpo route, or maybe was always a corpo, and then I guess just like kind of stayed in that world, but was almost, I guess, partly like a street kid too, or just had whatever, or maybe her and Jackie figured out or like met somewhere along the line. Because like I said, Jackie clearly worked with V a lot and was always like her go-to. So
That's
Yeah,
interesting.
it's interesting. But then you wake up after the Johnny Silverhand stuff, you wake up like in the scrapyard type thing or whatever, and you're woken up by what's his name?
Dude, I forget.
The guy that was the Arasaka's guy's bodyguard.
The bodyguard of the father.
Right. And he gets you up and he
at first he says, I got the guy who killed your father.
Yeah.
And you're like, fuck, he's gonna kill me, and I'm gonna have to deal with Arasaka now.
Yeah. But then he hangs up and there's like a brief conversation. Oh, they get attacked. And he gets hurt. And then you guys escape together. And you save his life, kind of. He saves your life, and then you wake up later after being at the Corpo dock for whatever, like a long time.
Corpo dock.
Yeah.
What's the Corpo dock?
Or the not the Corpo dock, the
Ripper dock.
Ripper dock.
I thought you were trying to tell me there was a whole new doctor just for Corpos. I was like, that's completely different.
No. The Ripper dock, you're there for a while. And then you get back to your apartment. You're like, there's like another scene with Johnny Silverhand. And then where I stopped is like, as soon as you leave the apartment, I have all these new quest lines. I was like looking at emails. I was on the phone with a million different people. And then the main quest line, I got assigned to go meet that bodyguard dude at the diner.
Okay. Yeah, I'm a lot further than you now. So I won't say any more, but I will say there is a follow-up mission with Jackie's mother. Essentially, she wants to have a service for Jackie. She wants you to go and, find things that, make you remember Jackie and bring that to the ceremony. And at this, so you said that Jackie's mom and V have like a little bit of like a relationship.
Yeah.
There's really nothing. She knows you as Jackie's best friend.
Okay.
And she knows you guys roll together and all that, and you're good friends. And she's even in the cinematic montage to Night City. But besides that, there's really no indication that you're cool with his mom. So the bottom line is, remember when I said what you do with the body changes a quest? It's that quest. So because you basically sent the body to the mom, you opened up the option in this quest line where you're going to be able to get a special vehicle by completing the quest.
Yeah. So I have a couple of vehicle quests that were unlocked. But there's a side quest line with like Jackie's mom to kind of, I guess, smooth things over. But the main line with her is like, like where the conversation was left was like, yeah, you can show up to the funeral if you want to, but go fuck yourself, kind of.
She kind of did that with me a little bit because she felt like I was like V was a little responsible for the death of Jackie.
Exactly.
Yeah. But I was just like, I'll be there. Like no matter what, I'll be there.
Yeah, I left it at I might be there.
Ooh, okay, that affects the quest line.
Yeah. Because there is, to me, I'm like, I don't want to just show up and like ruin the funeral, and there's like other stuff I think I can do before it to maybe smooth it over. But yeah, so I mean that's where I left off, and the game now kind of gives you like a deadline almost. And it's like you have this long to live, kind of, or until you lose your consciousness. So
it's a pseudo deadline. It's not like the game's actually counting the days or anything.
Yeah, no, that's just kind of what it feels like.
Yeah.
But anyway, so we did that. I do want to move on because we've been talking about it for a while, and we have a lot of other stuff to talk about. But specifically, before we hop into like the actual topics, let's talk a little bit about the elephant in the room, if you will.
Yeah.
The game is in a inexcusable state on consoles. Right. Now maybe it's a little bit better with the 1.004 patch. I have not played that patch yet. Many bugs across. I know that's across all versions, but console especially, visual issues, frame rate issues, resolution issues, and specifically on the old, like the last gen consoles, PS4, Xbox One base consoles, it's literally basically unplayable.
That's right. Yeah, textures won't load. Things will just randomly spawn in. You have police officers. If you commit a crime, a police officer will spawn behind you. And that's in honestly every version of the game.
Yeah. But on console, especially just the performance. Yeah. PS4, Xbox One, which we're not playing on. We're both playing on pretty much PS5. I did play on Series X, which I'll talk about in a second. But overall, it's almost half of your player base that's on consoles, and most of that percentage is still the last gen consoles, right? Which is what this game was developed for. And clearly right now it cannot handle it. And it's inexcusable that a game can be in development for 8 years, nearly a decade, have multiple delays, mandate their workers to crunch and delay this game and work overtime to fix some of these bugs so it runs well on last gen systems, which is what they said the last delay was for.
Yeah.
And it doesn't work. It's literally unplayable. That's inexcusable and unacceptable.
The version of the game is literally PS4 and Xbox One. When you buy the game, it's not the next gen version. That's not out.
Right. On console, you're playing through backwards compatibility. So it's really it's unacceptable. And I think
the product that you're buying isn't
right.
It doesn't work.
Yeah. So you should not buy it online. Honestly, in general, my suggestion to people would be to wait. Unless you have the highest end PC, you have like an RTX 3090, you have an i8 or i9 processor, at least do not play this game right now.
Or Google Stadia.
Or Google Stadia. Don't do it, which is so insane. Don't play the game right now. Just don't do it. Because if you're like me, and I feel like I'm playing it down right now, I did not have a good time starting to play this game. I was so interested in the story and all of that, but it kept crashing. The visual stuff is unacceptable. The way that it runs is unacceptable. And it kept just taking me out of the game immediately. And while I didn't have any issues with quest line stopping yet, hopefully I won't, the game crashing over and over and over again, to me, that's game breaking. That's like losing progress. It's unacceptable and it's ridiculous. And, I didn't get the opportunity to play more this weekend. And I'm okay. Like I wasn't jonesing for it because the experience is such shit. Yeah. And I really think CD Projekt Red is honestly one of the worst studios right now in game development. The way that they treat their workers, and clearly they were so fixated, right, on doing this larger than life game with all of this detail. And it's so detailed. It really is. It's great. But they overlooked the performance and were like, fuck these last gen versions of it, when that's what it was starting to be developed for and promised for. And to accept money from those people to play the game in a state that doesn't work, it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous.
So I think you're right. But to me, it's not even just performance. I do want to say, though, I have had 3 crashes so far in my time playing the game, which is a lot less than you. But I have been playing on like the newer versions of the game, where you were playing on the original version of the game. But I think it's more than just performance. There's a lot of AI stuff that just is mind-boggling. Like I said, police officers will spawn behind you. You pull a gun out in a building, and you'll go outside, and every single person's like ducking down with their hands above their head. It's like there's no distinction. Right. Cars will just like despawn and spawn. There's no AI for the vehicles at all. They're just on a set path. They just move forward. It's pretty bad. Like there's a lot of things that were just overlooked, and or they just couldn't get it to work. I think it could just be that. And I do want to say, Josh, you said earlier, like I feel like I'm downplaying it right now. I'm kind of downplaying it. I don't think you're downplaying it. I think what happened was we just talked about the story for a good while, and it kind of made you forget about all of the bad things, and it made you feel better because like the story is pretty good and like the world is pretty cool.
The story and Night City are the selling points for sure.
Yeah. Especially if you're a fan of sci-fi, Blade Runner, Cyberpunk.
Yeah, absolutely. Which we are.
Yeah, exactly. So I think like that's a testament right there, is like just talking about the story made you a little less mad about the performance issues and whatnot.
Yeah. But I know I'm going to go play it when we're done recording and something's going to happen. I'm going to be like, you fucking kidding me? You done? I'm going to throw my controller. I'm going to break my TV.
You're probably right. But I think that that just goes to show you it was so close to being like not perfect, but like really cool.
They should have delayed the game another 2 years.
Josh, what I don't understand is why these outlets reviewed it 9s and 10s. Now listen, it might have been running better on PC, which is where they played it, right? Mm-hmm. But there's still issues with the game that are glaring. Mm-hmm.
Well, I think from the, honestly, almost all the reviews, Brett, right? They weren't able to start until later. So a lot of people just blew through the main story and maybe overlooked some of the actual performance stuff with the game or the bugs or the other things. And they reviewed it. It's not a movie. It's not a movie. There's a lot more at play there. And I think a lot of those outlets did a disservice in actually, to me, if you don't 100% a game like this, I really don't think your review is valid or something like this. You have to look at all of the systems, right? This is an RPG. There's so many systems at play. There are so many things fundamentally wrong with the game. This is not the game that was promised. And it's not even as much of like a, people are looking, we're this saying this game is going to be the next greatest thing of all time, because they were. But if you actually just look at it for what it is, there was a lot of fundamental design issues with the game. And CD Projekt Red should honestly be ashamed, because they have so many devs and artists and writers that obviously put so much time and effort into detail and building the world and building out some of these systems. Yet they were forced to work overtime. And by you doing that and delaying the game, it didn't make the end product any better. It didn't.
It wasn't ready.
This game was managed like shit. And everybody that was in charge here, either as a manager or director or head of the studio, should not work on another game ever again. CD Projekt Red is bad. They are a terrible studio. And whereas you look at companies like EA and Ubisoft, who the last couple of years have shifted away from crunch and have addressed issues within their workplace culture, not that they don't still exist, of course they do. CD did the opposite. They lied about it, and then they did it anyway. And did it help your end product? Did it? No, it didn't. The game's broken and it has a lot of issues. And I think CD Projekt Red should not get anybody's money. I really think everybody should wait to play this game. I think they're a terrible studio. I think they're awful. I think it's really terrible. And it's a shame for all the devs and the artists inside that did so much work, and they were managed by people that are fucking idiots.
Clearly, you're being a little over the top, and that's okay. But I think...
Over the top? I'm serious. They're bad.
No, just by saying like they should never work in games again. Like,
no,
and also like CD Projekt Red is like an awful studio. Like clearly, like you said, there's people that worked on this game that did care. So like,
I mean the studio heads, the people that are in charge that implemented some of these practices.
I'm with you.
Not the workers themselves, obviously.
Yeah, I'm with you there. I just think that it's a damn shame that this game got dealt the way it did. If they wouldn't have announced the release date so soon, all these delays wouldn't have been a big deal. They could have delayed the game again. You know what I mean? But it all goes back to you told people you're going to put the game out, and then you delayed it. And then you told people you're going to put the game out, and you delayed it. And then you told people you're going to put the game out. You did. And it's fucking broken. So, you know what I mean? This game could have used another year.
Yeah.
Easily another year.
Yeah.
Of development.
All right. I want to move on. I just want to make a quick comparison. So we both are playing on PS5. I played the Series X version of it. The bugs are still there. I played 2 or 3 hours. So I basically got past the little montage sequence, or right to that. And then I stopped. I was like, I saw enough. I did the Street Kid background. I just want to see how it ran in the world, whatever. It still runs like shit. Xbox has the distinction. For some reason, the PS5 version doesn't have this. It has a performance and a quality mode. So 60 FPS mode, which is not locked to 60 on Xbox Series X, by the way. Like PS5's frame rate is actually much better. And it has a quality mode, which is 30 FPS and closer to a true 4K, but it's not true 4K. It's still like probably 60, 70% of a true 4K. Xbox has its own problems, though. There's not as much lighting issues or like graphical hiccups, but the game stutters. Like, it just stutters all the time. And I'm like, the fuck is going on?
I feel like the game doesn't even look that good. Like, even... And
I personally couldn't tell much of a difference. It supposedly runs or looks slightly better on Series X.
Yeah, supposedly it does.
But it stutters. There's still issues. It's not any better of an experience than it is on PS5. And I got a refund for my purchase on Series X. So
there you go. All right. Well, let's talk just a little bit more about that then, Josh. So CD Projekt Red's bonus system for employees. What do you want to talk about there?
So CD Projekt Red, in the wake of all of their other scandals, whatever you want to call it, with their mandatory crunch, them saying that, you know, they weren't going to do it, and then mandating their devs to do it, work overtime, work 6 days a week, nights, whatever. Something we've talked about kind of ad nauseum now on our channel. CD Projekt Red instituted or has been using this like bonus system where they basically give coins out that have like their logo on it or whatever. They give them to managers to give out to their developers or artists or whoever for doing a really good job. So it's like an incentive system. And that's fine. I get that. Other workplaces do that, like whether it's through prizes or just like, commendations or whatever it is. Because I know you said your personal work actually does this too, right?
Yeah, my place of work, they give out these stickers for acknowledging someone's doing a good job or whatever. Once you get a certain amount, once you get 5, you get a reward. Once you get 10, you get a reward. 15. Every 5, essentially, you'll get like a apparel item, like a special exclusive apparel item.
Mm-hmm.
A little different. It's not tied to our bonuses or anything like that. But surely, when it comes time for review, my boss could go, "Hey, I saw you got 15 stickers. That means people are acknowledging you. You're doing a great job." But it's not directly tied. No.
Right. So why I bring it up is exactly that, because it came out after the game launched that CD Projekt Red had these like, little commendation medals or whatever it is tied to their developers' bonuses.
That's poop, dude.
And if the game, there was like different levels of it. So if the game performed well or was reviewed well, then they could cash in these tokens for like bonuses, like financial incentives, basically. This is why this is bad. You're going to alienate some workers for doing basically what they should be doing, right? And it almost incentivizes monetarily people to put in overtime and crunch and work extra days so that they get these little freaking biscuits from their managers so that they are financially incentivized. And this implicitly basically is going to encourage employees to put in extra time on nights, weekends, to show that they're working the hardest and compete for basically more money.
So hold on. So you mentioned something. You said if the game performs well, they can cash it, right?
Right. I think that was exclusively tied to it. And this all comes from a Bloomberg article, by the way.
Okay. So here's my thing, Josh. It came out recently that CD Projekt Red's studio heads came out and they basically took responsibility in an email and they said, we're sorry. This is all our fault. This doesn't have anything to do with you guys.
The buggy launch of the game.
Yeah. They basically just apologized and said it's all our fault.
Mm-hmm.
You guys did a great job making this beautiful game. It's not your fault.
Right.
Now, this is what's fucking abysmal, Josh. The game is if the game is going to suffer financially, it's because of the decisions of the executive heads, not because of the work that the employees have put in.
Right.
So now, because of the shitty things that the executives have done, the regular employees have this bonus that they really doesn't mean shit, and it's not their fault. The game isn't performing well, therefore they're getting fucked. You know what I mean?
Right. Well, I mean, it's literally not performing well, but it got reviewed well. It sold 8 million copies and they made a profit on the first day.
Yeah.
So I guess in the critically and in like monetarily, it is doing really well. So how do you, what is like the cutoff there? It's
their stock did go down 25% after
launch. Good. The company deserves to fucking go bankrupt, and all those devs should go to other companies that will actually support them and not work for such a shit fucking company run by idiots.
I'm with you, brother.
And it's just this, it's really abysmal. It's really abysmal. And this company, if they are not held accountable, they're going to continue to make big games like this and basically force their employees to kill themselves and be incentivized monetarily to do so. It needs to stop. It's bad. So
what is, Josh, if you could, what is an example of a good studio that does this right?
So and I'm going to reference an article. It's actually from last year, September of last year. But just to compare, and this is a little bit of a smaller studio, but they still make great games. And just their philosophy is so much different to game design, right? We've talked a lot about that there's industry pressure to do crunch, to meet these like AAA title deadlines and things like that. Like it's clearly ingrained in the culture and why it's bad and so on and so forth. So to contrast that with a company that has it right, in my opinion, Supergiant Games, Brett, and you might know them for games like Bastion, Pyre, and also Transistor, and also Hades that just came out.
Yep.
So Supergiant Games, right, do not mandate their workers to crunch. actually allow them flexible work hours because they say some of their employees, are more um, efficient in the morning. Some are perform better in the evenings.
Makes
And
sense.
they have an internal, just nature of collaboration of you have to work obviously, but work when is best for you. And I think in the article too, they touch on like sometimes we have meetings that everybody has to be to that might be outside of when they would typically work or things like that. But whatever. Anyway, they mandate not their workers to do crunch, Brett, but their workers to take at least 20 days off a year. Now, they can take as many days off a year as they want for various reasons, no questions asked, but they must take 20 days off every year. That's not like a suggested thing or whatever. It's like, no, you're working too much. You need some time off. Go take some time off. Please go take care of yourself and your family and go live your life and do not work. Please don't do it.
It's really nice.
Come on, man.
I mean, listen, that's how you breed success, right?
Clearly they breed success.
Yeah, you want your products to succeed. Make your employees happy.
Right. They've been building their studio like this, and where it comes from, and really why I wanted to bring this up is the studio head, who his name I think is I'm not gonna be able to find it now. It's Greg Casavin or something like that. His last name's Casavin. He's the head of the studio. He comes from a background in working with EA. Okay. And he said that when he joined EA, it was right around the time whatever studio in EA he worked for got in trouble for doing mandatory crunch and mandated overtime and things like that. So he came into this this cultural shift at EA where they changed that and did things like this, like mandatory time off, like do not work nights and weekends. There's no crunch, like all of that in his studio that he worked for in EA, because that was like a company-wide thing that EA has done. Mm-hmm. And he said that was a really great experience. So he brought it to Supergiant when he founded it with the other guy that founded it, I forget. And just something that they do now in their office, because they said it produces better game. It's less stress. It doesn't put brackets on the time that they need to. Now, Supergiant's also lucky. They're not like CD. They don't have deadlines that they have to meet. They're basically an independent studio that is funded by, Epic and some other things that they just have made very good deals, right?
Yeah.
With people so they don't have as much outside influence. And I think regardless, whether you're a AAA studio or a smaller studio like Supergiant, you can bring that mindset to managing your team, right, to the table, regardless of the size. And if you don't, right, by you doing the opposite, as we've seen with Cyberpunk, you're not producing a better end product. And you're putting your workers' health at risk, in the process.
Absolutely. It's a good comparison, Josh.
So that's it.
All right. Well, if you don't mind, I want to speculate with you a little bit.
Yeah, please.
So came out the other day, VentureBeat reported that J.J. Abrams' Bad Robot Productions is establishing a new game studio.
Yes.
And it's being led by Left 4 Dead creator and founder of Turtle Rock, Mike Booth. So first, I want to read the little bit about it here. So it says VentureBeat reports that Bad Robot Games will now consist of two divisions. One to work on the co-development deals with external partners, and they're calling themselves Bad Robot Games. And the other to make its own titles under Mike Booth, which would be called Bad Robot Games Studios. Bad Robot Game Studios is already working on an original title for consoles and PC.
Oh, baby.
Oh, my God!
So Mike Booth is basically working on a game. It's going to be its own title. Don't know if it has anything to do with any of their other properties or products that they're making. But they have this other division of their studio, Bad Robot Games, that are just going to work on co-development deals with other companies. So if there's like I don't want to be rude here and call some a movie shitty, but let's say there's this movie coming out and they want a shitty video game tie-in or something, they could make it or they will make it. But I'm not saying it's going to be shitty, but I think of Stranger Things, Things the game.
Mm-hmm.
I've heard decent things about it, but this is something they would take on, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So I want to speculate with you. Okay.
Speculate away.
At the Game Awards, first of all, Josh, we saw Turtle Rock Studios' Back 4 Blood.
Left 4 Dead.
Very much Left 4 Dead, right?
which we were both excited for.
Very much.
Check out our full live stream on YouTube if you didn't.
That's right. So it makes me think: is there going to be any Bad Robot tie-ins with Back 4 Blood?
Maybe.
Could we see like a map inspired by a Bad Robot property?
Mhm.
That'd be kind of cool.
So what are some like actual stuff that Bad Robot has done, Brett?
Okay, so I'm going to go down a little bit of a list here.
Yeah.
So they have worked on obviously Cloverfield, which is their big original property that they, J.J. Abrams worked on.
Come on
now,
Cloverfield. Come on.
Just the concept of a Cloverfield game is so awesome to me because you and I both like kaiju movies. Godzilla, Cloverfield.
Absolutely.
So being able to like play a game where you play as the human and there's like this giant monster destroying a city. There's actually a couple Japanese games that do this, but none of them ever made it to the United States. I think that'd be super cool, and like a different type of horror game where instead of the monster or the creature like being your size and in the room with you, it's humongous and you're just like running from it. Essentially,
Oh my God!
They could even keep it. That's such a cool concept. They could keep it like a found footage too, like the first Cloverfield movie. And you think about how games like Outlast and stuff play, like you have a camera, like maybe it's survival horror in that aspect where like you have the monster in the city and you're just trying to survive. And there's like all like maybe like smaller Cloverfield monsters or something.
Well, they have those little in Cloverfield, the little creatures.
Yeah.
The little crawler jaws, right?
Exactly. You're right. Yeah.
Yeah. And then not only that, but you got 10 Cloverfield Lane, which is aliens. It's not even the same thing.
Exactly. Yeah. A lot they could do there. Be cool.
Yeah, it could very much be like a Left 4 Dead thing.
Yeah.
Which makes me think Back 4 Blood. So they worked on Cloverfield, 10 Cloverfield Lane, Star Trek. J.J. Abrams worked on Star Trek.
Yep.
Super 8, another original property.
Yes. Ooh.
Guys, this is gonna be great.
Right. Mission Impossible.
Wow. Holy shit. Yeah.
Star Wars, obviously, but there's a licensing deal.
Right.
And then just one that I thought was funny as I was looking into this, Josh. Bad Robot is making a live action version of the anime film Your Name.
Oh my God!
What?
All right. Let's get an anime game from JJ.
Dude, I'd fucking be so down for like a visual novel of Your Name.
Now, you remember that whole rumor, and I think it's actually in development, where JJ's executive producing a Portal thing too?
A movie, yeah.
Yeah, the Portal movie.
You think Gabe is going to give him let him make some Portal games?
I don't know.
Maybe.
Yeah, it's cool though. I think games may be a better medium for JJ Abrams. He's very much about the mystery box and weird stuff, and I think he needs to get out of the cookie cutter corporate movie making realm because I don't think it actually suits him that well. He's more of like a very elevated, polished indie movie maker, where I feel like that would be a better realm for him. Something like a Super 8, which actually, I mean, I know there's big names attached to that, but something more in that style, where like Cloverfield, I feel like he's like this indie movie director that just had all these huge IPs dropped in his lap and was like, all right, I guess this is what I'm doing now. But really his artistic style serves better to more confined, less corporate stories.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm getting a brain fart right now. What's the director's name of the Batman films? He was just Tenet. What's his name again?
Oh, Christopher Nolan.
Christopher Nolan.
Yeah.
Said recently, I'd be interested, or 10 years ago, he said, I'd be interested in making an Inception video game.
Yeah.
Because you could do so much more in games than you can with movies.
It's true.
So
sure.
There's that.
It's true.
So yeah, man, I just thought that was a cool little story. We've been fans of Bad Robot for a long time.
Yeah.
Specifically Cloverfield, Super 8.
Yeah.
And obviously Star Wars with JJ.
Right. Minus episode 9.
Exactly.
Yeah. At least me personally.
The cleanup crew film, as we like to call it. Because that's what JJ was.
Well, yeah, he had to come and literally deal with the steaming pile of dog shit. Yeah. So, but all right, cool. Something we've talked about again, kind of ad nauseum before on this channel. I wanted to bring it up, get your reaction, and just talk about it briefly. Okay. So I'm going to be referencing an article from an outlet called The American Prospect. And we've talked about DCMA on this channel before, right? With copyright music on YouTube, Twitch. getting strikes on YouTube with copyrighted music, even if you're not making money off of it, and blah 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 blah, and how it's impacting streamers and it's bad and XYZ. Anyway, now Brett, this video we're filming right now. Let's say I picked a song, okay, or actually let's use our Game Awards stream for example, right? Which, fun fact, copyright strikes already. Whatever, even though we were co-streamers.
It's true.
It's just fuck off with that. So Brett, for that, we're gonna go to prison. What if I told you that? What if I told you we're gonna go to prison for that? And we're gonna get tried as being felons.
I'd say you're fucking nuts.
Well, I would be nuts, Brett, but we live in 2020 United States of America. What a fucking shit country we live in, my friend, because now felony streaming legislation has been introduced by Senator Tom Tillis. Okay.
What a name.
Yeah. He's a Republican from North Carolina.
Of course he is.
Yep. And I don't want to get too political, but basically he has introduced legislation that would make it a felony offense to stream copyrighted content on YouTube, Twitch, Instagram, whatever it is, and possibly have a prison sentence attached to it rather than it just being a misdemeanor right now. Okay.
This guy is an old, out of touch, fucking corporate suck off Republican piece of shit. That's what I'm going to say.
Yeah. So bad. But why it's really bad, Brett, is because I don't know if you know this about American politics, but it's so bad and so broken that basically these senators that honestly, in my opinion, are bad. Okay. I won't continue with what my actual thoughts are on them. He's attaching this to this something that's called a must-pass bill. So most of the time when you have a must-pass bill, it's something that deals with budget, finance, making so the government and the things that run under the government can continue to operate, right, without shutting down. Okay. And as always, Republicans and Democrats fight back and forth about what should go in there, like what the money should be allocated to, whatever, blah, blah, blah. So they get to these deadlines every couple of years, or honestly every year at this point, and they're like, oh, well, now you got our hands tied. We got to pass this bill. And then scummy senators like Tom Fuckface over here attach things to them, like to these must-pass bills, like this legislation about making streaming copyrighted content a felony offense onto them, so they have to pass and then they get signed into law.
So you think this is there's a likelihood that this is going to pass?
I think it's likely, yeah. Now, how YouTube and other platforms handle that, I don't know. There is also obviously lobbyists out there for something called the Electronic Frontier Foundation, who are basically trying to keep the internet free and open and stop stuff like this. They're trying everything they can do against it. They think that the bill would likely be dead on arrival and like that wouldn't end up going through. But it's hard. I'm not going to get into like a political history of it, but there's a lot of things that have been attached to these must-pass bills in the past that are really bad. They kind of like senators will kind of use it as or Congress people will use it as a vessel to get like their pet projects through. Kind of, they're like, oh, I really want this thing to get through. I'm going to wait until we fucking can't negotiate a fucking budget and then I'm going to pass it.
So it's almost like a parasite that he's just attached onto this bill that has to pass.
That's right. A parasite attached to a bill developed by a parasite. Yep.
Interesting.
It's bad, folks. You like gaming, you like our content, you like other gaming YouTubers, podcasters, Twitch streamers, whatever it is, educate yourself about DCMA and shit that's happening right now, because it's abysmal and it's bad.
Yeah.
And things like this will kill platforms like this.
There's already people that have their whole livelihoods taken away from this copyright shit on Twitch. Listen, there's a whole community of people that play Guitar Hero and Rock Band and stuff on Twitch, and the speed run, or not speed run, like perfect run and shit.
Right.
That community is like dead right now because they're getting copyright strike from playing these songs.
Yep.
There needs to be, and we've said this before, there needs to be set rules. It needs to be changed. Everything needs to be looked at again with, modern times. You know what I mean? Things are so different now than when copyright laws were first signed. Fair use is so broad.
Right.
and never even like fair use isn't even like acknowledged. I feel like people don't give you the benefit of the doubt with fair use. You kind of have to like prove that it is fair use, whereas there should be clear guidelines that say you're right. And there is guidelines as to what determines something
Right.
fair use, but it doesn't matter.
It's not instituted that way. And
Exactly.
people like this either present it as what I'm about to say, or they think it's this way. And the fact that like you and I, for example, when we're doing stuff like the Game Awards live stream, we are not just ripping off that music and like, or the videos or whatever it is, and claiming it first of all as our own, trying to collect money off of it. It's not like we're presenting that as our own money or our own music and trying to collect royalties or money off of that. That's not what's happening. It's completely different. We are creating the content. It's a supplement to our content.
It's called transformative. What we're doing is transformative to the content.
Right. Exactly.
It's not like we're just uploading an episode of South Park onto YouTube and saying, here you go, you can watch this now and we're going to get paid for it.
Right. But people like this either understand that and don't care because they want to make money, or they don't understand that and that's what they think is happening, and that's why they shouldn't fucking legislate shit. They should be in a nursing home.
This dude sucks off big corporations and he's just trying to get more money in their pockets that they don't need. That's what it is.
Suck my fucking dick.
Yeah. All right.
Okay.
Well, let's talk about the Game Awards. You know, we talked about it a little bit.
Let's do it.
So, Josh, I don't want to dwell on the Game Awards. I mean, listen, number one, we had a great stream.
We did have a great stream. It was a lot of fun. Thanks to everybody that watched it. And if you didn't watch it, check it out.
That's right. Yeah, it was phenomenal. And while the Game Awards were maybe subpar to some people, I had a lot of fun, specifically because a lot of our predictions were correct, and that made me feel good.
Dude, I think, and you know, I haven't done an official audit. I know you haven't, but according to my calculations, roughly, I think we really only got 2 or 3 predictions wrong. And if you didn't watch our Game Awards special for Hapticast or any of the supplemental videos, feel free to check them out. I know they're a little outdated at this point, but you can at least see kind of how we went through things. And we were very clear from the beginning that like we have our preferences for who the winners are going to be or who we want to win. And then we talk through, but here's the actual voting body. Here's why this game has a lot of merit. Because obviously they all did if they're nominated. And here's who is likely going to win. And that oftentimes didn't match up with who we necessarily wanted to win for a lot of categories. But we talked through it. And clearly our thought process and our considerations were pretty much spot on. Because, I mean, I'm going to say it, Brett. I think we have the best track record in all of gaming media about getting predictions correct for the Game Awards. I'm calling it right now.
That's fair. I think it's the way, like you said, it's the way we went about it, because a lot of people will just go, you know, I played The Last of Us 2. I fucking hated that game. I like Hades a lot more. That game's so much better. That game's going to win Game of the Year. It should win Game of the Year.
Yeah.
Whereas we, like you said, we looked at it, you know, we said, we know what this game means to the industry. Okay. Right. And not only that, but we were able to read the descriptions of each category and say, I don't think that game really specifically falls under that category. Right.
Right.
For example, I think one of the ones that we lost or we didn't get correct were action adventure game.
Yes. Which is honestly the only award that I felt the entire night. I was like, this is not correct.
Yes. So I think it was Last of Us 2. Right.
Yes, for action adventure game.
And we said it should have been Jedi Fallen Order.
Correct. Because the description was traversal, exploration, puzzle solving.
Exactly. Which we didn't really think we did mention, like, you know, Last of Us 2 is a great action adventure game, but we don't think it nails all of these things.
Right.
So, I mean, when you're looking at it like that, I mean, it's kind of hard to get it wrong. We got almost all of them right.
Yeah. So that's the only award that night I was like, this doesn't actually match what you said the category was.
I agree with you there.
But besides that, I mean, obviously we got mostly everything else correct. I forget the other ones that we got wrong, but it was only like another 1 or 2. And overall, I think the show was great. And I think looking like maybe in the moment, I wasn't super hyped for a lot of the stuff that they were showing. There's definitely a couple things I was like, damn, that's fucking slick. Especially, I think, even though I'm not a huge fan, I think the Perfect Dark Zero thing was huge. Mm-hmm. I think the Left 4 Dead clone, Back for Blood is huge, that we're going to suck off. And even though it wasn't big for us, Mass Effect is like I went on Twitter afterwards and people were like fucking like losing their minds, and I was like, all right, cool.
Yeah,
like,
it
cool.
was big, but I think it was almost like a cop out because they didn't actually announce a game. They basically just said we're going to make more games.
Yeah,
and it was like, well, you never really stopped. You made Andromeda and it sucked, but you never said you were done. I don't understand why you need to like announce you're still doing it.
I don't know. Maybe people just really thought it was done, or I don't know. I'm not a Mass Effect. I'm not like into Mass Effect. I do want to play Mass Effect if they come out with the remastered stuff. I've only played a little bit in my days on this planet, and I didn't particularly enjoy what I did play.
Hey, they also showed Callisto, which is the Dead Space game. That
Oh yeah, that did look good. That did look very good, and it's directed by somebody that knows what the fuck they're doing.
Yeah.
And he said like, yeah, we want to basically just make like the scariest game of all time. And I'm like, all right,
well, I'm in.
All right, cool.
Speaking of Evil Dead, the game, that was a cool announcement.
Yeah. I forgot about that. Damn. Okay, yeah.
So I actually watched the playback again.
Yeah.
And it's really funny. So Jeff is like, supernatural horror. Let's check out this new game, whatever. And you're like, supernatural horror. And I was like, that's a weird way to announce Silent Hill or something like that. Cause it was kind of just like real quick. And I was like, it's not going to be anything big, but it might be like, it could be big. And as they're like showing certain elements in the beginning of the trailer, I was like, what is this? And you start going like, like we start looking like we're trying to figure out what it is. You see the car. And I think I mentioned, and I'm like, is that Evil Dead? And then you look away, you look at something off camera, and they literally show the Necronomicon on the screen, and you miss it. And it's not until they show the deer on the wall, and you're like, oh shit! It was so funny because like they literally showed the book, and you were
I missed it. I missed that because I was doing other stuff with like OBS too.
No, I know you were like busy doing stuff, but I watch you. You like look over and then you're like, oh shit! It's the fucking deer, the crazy faced deer that got you.
Nice.
I just thought that was funny. Also, Returnal was shown.
Yeah,
Housemarque's game.
Yeah.
And if you watch that back, that's a funny meme because it starts off. It almost looks like Silent Hills or PT, the door.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, yo, is this Silent Hills? And you were like, yo, it's Silent Hills. And then she opens the door and it's like not anything like Silent Hill at all.
Yeah.
We were like, cool.
Yeah. Thanks for cock teasing us.
We weren't alone. I did look on the Silent Hill subreddit and there's like memes about it and stuff. So
yeah. But I know we will do a highlights reel at some point, probably this week, either with the main pod or at some point. I don't know. We'll talk about it and figure it out. But we'll do a highlight reel because we typically do that stuff anyway for our live shows. So yeah.
Absolutely. Good time. Very good time.
Yes, sir.
All right, Josh. Well, it's time for that section of the podcast that we do once a week.
Yes, it is.
Indie Intel, where we highlight an indie game. Usually a game that needs some help on Kickstarter. We want to give it some love.
Mm-hmm.
This week, Josh, we're looking at Inzane, which is a 2D atmospheric cinematic side-scroller where you explore a fascinating, mystical, handcrafted, detailed world. So I know we always like to point out where the game is being developed and who is developing it.
That's right.
So it looks like Inzane is being developed by Dobby or Dobby. I'm not sure how you pronounce it.
Okay.
It's a 2-person independent game studio from Germany.
Love it.
And I think this is the first time we've done a game from Germany, correct?
It's correct. But continues with the theme of us picking games from different parts of the world.
Yeah, absolutely. These guys are mostly graphic designers, which is evident.
Yeah. Yeah. They so it looks a lot like Inside, or Limbo, right? But it's like 2D, 3D, and I know it's actually probably just 2D, but the way that they have designed it makes it look like 2D, 3D. It looks really cool, man. And some of the stuff that they talk about with it, as far as like what's in the game, it's probably going to be just like a puzzle solver type stuff, but they talk about, the butterfly effect of choices and just like interacting with certain things in the world. And I love shit like that, man. I love shit like that so much.
Yeah.
So
it actually, the themes of the game are going to deal with like psychological suffering, mental problems, mental issues, depression, stuff like that, which is already pretty cool. We always like when games are a little more sentimental in that respect.
Yeah.
But then, like you said, it also delves into something called the Inzane effect, which is like where the environment of the game changes around you as you're progressing through, because it is a side scroller.
Right.
And it almost goes from Limbo to Inside graphical styles
with
the Inzane effect. And it just looks really cool. Like, I'm sure you could show a GIF or like a video clip as we're talking about it. You see it?
Dude, sorry. No, I just read something completely else. They said that they're going to do an ARG.
I'm going to get to that. Yes.
Oh, dude, I'm fucking in for this, my boy.
So the butterfly effect is something you mentioned where
I'm backing this game as you speak. Keep going.
So like you said, the butterfly effect is a theme in the game. And they said it's like real life. No decision possibility. Decisions out of your gut. Decisions can't be undone. Sometimes there are more than two decisions. Even small ones can have a huge impact through the game. They said when you are about to make a decision in a game that will, have something to do with the butterfly effect, like something that will change the game, you'll see a butterfly on the screen. And then when you do the action, the amount of butterflies that spawn on the screen will indicate whether it was a big change to the story or a small change to the story.
That's interesting.
So you'll make a decision, and the game will be like, hey, here's a bunch of butterflies. You just did something that's going to change the whole fucking game, right? Like you said, it's a puzzle solver, 2D side-scrolling type of game. You interact with objects just like you would in Inside and Limbo. But there is a community puzzle element of this game, an ARG, just like Inside had. There's going to be codes and elements that pop up throughout the game that are going to be a part of the ARG. And I'm sure a lot of the Kickstarter rewards you get will also have codes on them and other things that you could use to help solve the ARG. If you don't know what an ARG is, it's an alternate reality game. Essentially, it's just like a little puzzle that the community gets together in game, outside of game. There's been popular ones with Halo, Cloverfield. There's been a whole bunch of really popular ARGs. So yeah, I mean, if you look at the Kickstarter, they have a lot of cool backer rewards, which you and I were talking about a little bit before we started. Are you looking at? Did you just pledge or what?
Yeah, I just did.
So what did you get? How much did you?
I did the 25. I guess it's 25 euros tier, so about $31.
Okay.
I usually do at least minimum that level because you get digital copies of the game and updates and things like that. So.
Okay.
But yeah. Did you talk about what the timeline looks like for this game?
I did not. If you have that up, you feel free. I don't.
Yeah, so it just started, and there's still a lot of time to go. So this will be out well before they're done. Only has 35 backers now, and myself included. It has 41 days to go. They have a $30,000 goal. They have $2,300 pledged thus far. Yeah, you can add it to your wish list in Steam, which I guess I will do right now too to help them out. And yeah, so make sure you back this game.
Absolutely. I'm looking right now at all the different rewards, and I'm trying to figure out which one I'm gonna do. So
I like it.
I'm just trying to figure out which one is the best bang for the buck. I mean, you get your name in the credits too, which is really cool.
Right.
So listen, it's not the most it's first of all, I don't want to say it's not creative. It's very creative what they're doing here. But when I say that it's not the most creative, I mean clearly it's taking heavy inspiration from Inside and Limbo.
Right.
But it's not a bad thing. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I mean, it looks like it's got its own unique story. It has its own unique features, the butterfly effect and the Inzane effect that they have in there. So yeah, definitely check out Inzane, guys. It looks really cool.
Yes, sir.
And I think, if I'm correct, that's it for this week's podcast.
You are correct about that, Brett. This is it. I'm sorry towards the end. I mean, I'm going to edit it, but I was so excited by backing the game. I clicked around on some things in OBS. Never stop recording. It's just you might see stuff from our live stream. Well, you guys won't. I'll probably edit over it, but anyway. So
it's all good.
But yeah, so this was good. We don't need to talk about this right now, but I know, we're getting towards the end of the year here. The holidays are coming up, obviously. So I don't know. We might do one more pod before the end of the year holidays. And then that'll be it for us for the year. So there might be, a week or so in there when we don't have at least any podcast stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's fair to say because we also have some big things planned, and
Right.
we don't know how long that's going to take to set up officially.
Right. So we might be down for a week or so. Just as like Brett said, we have some stuff planned for our channel to, I don't know, maybe move some stuff around. I don't know. Maybe go somewhere and do some stuff, I don't know.
That's right. And if that does happen, the best place to go to check out updates and stuff would be twitter.com/hapticintel, at hapticintel, Facebook as well. We post pretty regularly. Also, Josh and I on our personal Twitter accounts are very active. So.
Yeah. So all of our social links are in the descriptions to our link trees. Make sure you follow us on all socials. Make sure you follow Haptic on all socials. Make sure you like, you comment, you subscribe, you share with people. Jump into the comments below. Keep it civil. Let us know what your thoughts are. Yeah. Anything else, Brett?
That'll do it.
All right. See you, everybody. Thanks for watching.
See ya. Thanks for checking out this episode of Hapticast. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe to Haptic Intel. Thanks for watching.